Let's get into this doozy. This is gonna be a good one. This is Tucker Carlson on Fox. I like Tucker Carlson, actually. Tucker Carlson is a fighter. Sometimes I don't like the way he interrupts people. I don't like that. I'm not like that. But he gets into it with the governor of Arkansas, which I usually I don't know why, but I confuse the state of Arkansas sometimes, and I call it, and that should be the name of it, to be honest. It should be Arkansas. If Kansas is Kansas and you put an AR in front of it, it's Arkansas, not Arkansas. That is not controversial. I'm like, so I confuse it sometimes and I call it Arkansas, but it's obviously Arkansas. So let me give you some background, that way you know exactly what's going on. So we have Tucker Carlson on the left. We have Asa Hutchinson on the right. This guy is a Republican governor for Arkansas. He vetoed a law passed by his legislature that will make it illegal for parents and hospitals to administer puberty blockers and I'm not sure exactly what else to children under the age of 18. He vetoed it under the guise saying that the government should be a limited government. Oh my God, should be a limited government, right? We should not be intruding in what a parent and a child decide that they're gonna do together. Whether they're gonna get, let's say, a sex change operation or puberty blockers that's not tested, that might cause these kids it might make them infertile in the future. They don't know about this field. This is a brand new field, right? So this guy says, this governor on the right, who's a Republican conservative, again, on the right, is saying, oh, the government can't do that, cannot impede in the parent's decision and the child's decision to take puberty blockers that might affect them in the future when he wants to have kids. And then Tucker Carlson goes him back and says, hey, but the government does it all the time. The government doesn't allow children to buy alcohol. The government doesn't allow children to buy guns. They don't allow children to buy cars. They do it all the time because it's for the safety. I believe in a limited government, right? But the government should be there for certain things, right? To protect children in this case. He says, no, this is where some conservatives fail. And conservatives sometimes are too good. They don't understand. They're like, no, the conservatives sometimes try to be fair when there's certain times that it's not about fairness. You cannot be fair with people that are literally, there's lives of young children on the line. And this individual says, oh, we want to be fair. The government can't do this. The government can do that. While the left is like, no, we're going to do this right now. The left don't care. And there's people, these conservatives on the right, they're trying to be fair. Look at this exchange. It's maybe about 4 or 5 minutes long, but you're going to like it and you're going to see exactly. Again, so in Arkansas, the law that passed, so what happened? Okay, let me explain what finally happened here. So he vetoes the law, but the legislature vetoes him and they override the veto. So now it's law in Arkansas that you cannot give them like puberty blockers to children, etc., etc. I'm not sure the details of the law, but this is basically the gist of it, and becomes the first state that does so. So again, great for raising kids, Arkansas, it seems like. Let's go. Tucker Carlson versus Asa Hutchinson.
Appreciate it in the middle of all this. Now, I think of you as a conservative. Here you've come out publicly as pro-choice on the question of chemical castration of children. What changed?
You see how he puts it? He don't play like chemical castration of children, because again, this is, I think it's very inhumane in my opinion, to say to a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 10 or 11-year-old, you know what? You feel like you're a girl. Yet a 10 or 11-year-old doesn't know, might not even know his favorite color. They're like, you know what? You feel like a girl. You feel like a boy. Just take these chemicals and you're going to feel good.
Well, first of all, your teaser as you led into this program did not accurately represent the bill. If this had been a bill that simply prohibited chemical castration, I would have signed the bill. But Tucker, as you know, this bill was overbroad, it was extreme, and went far beyond what you just said. And I made it clear that if this was about prohibiting procedures, sex reassignment surgery, absolutely, I would have signed that bill. But this, again, is the first law in the nation that invokes the state between medical decisions, parents who consent to that, and the decision of the patient. And so
this is his major problem, that the government shouldn't get in the decision of the parents and the patient. The patient, we're talking about a 10-year-old, 11-year-old.
This goes way too far. And in fact, it doesn't even have a grandfather clause that those young people that are under hormonal treatments,
if I could just correct you for a second. Well, this is chemical castration, of course. If you stop puberty and suppress the sex hormones, you're chemically castrating someone. So our description was correct. But let me just ask you, I mean, there are all kinds of, we're talking about minors, children here, and there are all kinds of things in Arkansas kids in every state are not allowed to do. Get married, drink a beer, get a tattoo. Why do you think it's important for conservatives to make certain that children can block their puberty?
Look at this stupid response from a conservative.
Be chemically castrated. Why is that a conservative value, if you would tell us?
Well, first of all, you have parents involved in very difficult decisions. You have physicians that are involved in these decisions. And I go back to William Buckley. I go back to Ronald Reagan, the principles of our party, which believes in a limited role of government. Are we as a party abandoning a limited role of government and saying we're going to invoke the government decision making over and above physicians, over and above health care, over and above parents, and saying you can't do that? So you believe it?
Homeboy. This is why, again, conservatives, man. Homeboy, they're just telling you, let that child do it after he's 18. Make some laws where he does it after he's an adult, after he has lived a little. But how are parents going to be making decisions on a child that's 10 years old because the child tells them, I feel like I'm this? How is, and he says it, a decision made by the parents and the patient, but the patient is 10 years old, homeboy. The patient doesn't know his favorite color yet. What decision is he going to be making on his own? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. To this guy, it does.
It's healthcare.
You cannot engage in that.
How deeply have you studied this?
And look, he's gonna go in right now. Watch
this topic. With respect, it doesn't sound like you've studied it very deeply. I mean, this is an emerging field. There's not a lot of research, but the research that exists suggests that depression and the urge to self-harm and suicide is a component, is a side effect.
Wait, I gotta read this comment before I continue. Dreamtree 777 says, my dog just had puppies. He's such a good boy. Yes, he is.
Of taking these hormones. A study in the UK showed the overwhelming majority of children on puberty-blocking hormones had the urge to hurt themselves. Why is that responsible medicine to do that to children? Why would you support something like that?
Well, I actually reviewed some of that study. I reviewed the high court decision there, and I think they are different than what you're talking about here. Sure, there's a lot of unknowns here. I studied this bill in contrast to what you just said. I spent a lot of time reviewing cases, meeting with people, listening to the experts, as well as to faith leaders as well. And I'm a person of faith, but at the same time, I'm a person of limited role of government.
What faith, bro? Well, like, what faith are you talking about when you veto something that prohibits doctors from giving hormones to children? What faith? Like, what faith is that? Because it's not Christianity. I'm like, what faith is that?
I sign pro-life bills. I sign many bills that would be looked at as very conservative, but this is one that crosses the line. There's no need for it.
Hold on. And, I'm sorry, but hold on. You say there's no need for it, but you've said that you've seen research that shows the mental health of children who receive puberty-blocking drugs improves. What is that research exactly?
Well, the research that I've seen shows that these troubled youth, these ones that have gender dysphoria, that they also have depression. They have suicidal tendencies. It's a higher suicide rate than others. And they go to their parents. The parents go to doctors, and they try to deal with this very difficult issue. I don't think we should deny them health care.
Hold on. I'm sorry. You're the governor. You just vetoed this bill. You said you're familiar with the studies. No one disputes that children who are asking for puberty-blocking drugs or been recommended to their parents or doctors may be depressed. That seems very likely. I think the studies show it. Cite one specific study that shows puberty-blocking drugs improves the condition. Does it make children less depressed? Does it make them less likely to harm themselves, to commit suicide? Just name one study that shows that, please.
Well, I would refer you to the American Academy of Pediatrics. I would refer you to the physicians that came out in opposition to this bill because they understood the risk to these young people. And if you prohibit the medical care that this bill prohibits, then you're going to endanger these young people even further. So I would cite all of those medical experts.
This field barely existed 10 years ago.
Facts.
Cases of gender dysphoria, so-called, have increased by thousands of percent in the last decade. So actually, we can't know the answers to these questions. The research that we have suggests the opposite of what you're claiming. You clearly aren't familiar with the research. And so my question is, have you spoken to any of the biggest employers, the big companies in Arkansas, about this?
Tucker going in. And again, this is what they say. That they say this. And let me give you just one. This is the Mayo Clinic. This is a hormone called puberty blocking hormone called gonadotropin releasing hormone, GnRH. And look what are some of the side effects that you're going to give to a puberty blocker that starts around 10 to 11 years old. You're going to give this to a child, and look what are some of the things that could happen with it. Some of the side effects. Look at this. Look at it. Use of GnRH analogous might also have long-term effects on. Listen to this. Hold on. A 10-year-old is going to tell you, yes, give me the puberty blockers, on bone density and future fertility. So Tucker was right that these puberty blockers are chemical castration. But this is where are we at in 2020? And we have a conservative Republican governor vetoing a law that would not allow parents or doctors to make decisions on the body of a 10-year-old.